Hello, I'm SammyP. Welcome to episode 2 of my Let's Voice Divinity Original Sin. If you watched my first episode, you know that I'm using the excuse of practicing voice acting as a means of playing video games and then putting them on YouTube. I've been thinking about these videos. Sorry. My last video I felt was a bit long, so I'm actually going to be aiming to do shorter videos and more often, which then didn't work out this week because I had an actual audition to work on for voice acting. So I feel that's an apt excuse. But I will be aiming for a shorter episode and then more often, so hopefully next week I'll have more episodes out. But this week, I think we're going to focus on getting our party together. Excuse me. Why is it always when I record I start feeling like I've got a mustache at my nose? Every time. I'm going to fix up my hotbar because the game does this slightly irritating thing where it will put your items you pick up will immediately go into your what's the word I'm thinking of? Will immediately go into your hotbar, which is okay, kind of, except that it's also incredibly irritating because there's a lot of stuff there you just don't want, and eventually you have a lot of skills and you don't have space for all of them, so we're going to move all those out for now. Okay, where were we? We are playing Ifan Ben Mezd, who was just shipwrecked onto an island which contains Fort Joy. We're now going to gather our party together, and I am going to, a little bit inside business, I don't want my party to level up. As you can see down the bottom of the screen, where I can see this little yellow line is the experience bar, and it's showing that we are close to getting to level 2. Yeah, we haven't leveled up yet. And I would, if you haven't talked to your crew people, quick save because it thinks I'm going to have a combat, it's wrong. If you haven't already talked to the potential party members, then they will immediately level up to whatever level you are when you finally talk to them. But the AI will level the characters, and I don't want that. I want to be able to tweak it myself. Ooh, kitty. I don't have pet pal yet. Can't talk to the kitty. So we're going to try, I think this will work, I haven't actually done it before, because if you run up these stairs, just here, and these people have a conversation and it interrupts you, but I think, I've just noticed this ladder, I haven't, so I think if I go up this way, and then down here, I can do all of this without gaining enough experience to go up a level. That's the plan, anyway. Okay. Oh, hello. The woman is scrabbling at her throat, as though she can hardly breathe. As she catches sight of you, recognition flashes in her terrified eyes. She drops her hands from her throat and starts hyperventilating. Ben Mezd! Ifan Ben Mezd! You killed them! You killed them! You killed them! You killed the murderer! I don't know who you are, but you need not fear. Nobody has given me a contract for your life. Keep him away from me! Help! Help someone! Keep him away! But didn't know that happened, but I guess if you have Ifan, people sometimes recognize him. So we're going to go find the people. And I mentioned last week I was going to have Beast and Red Prince and Sybil. Probably going to be my party. So let's go talk to him. Come on, you stubborn hunk of garbage. The dwarf's fingers clamp around a splintered chunk of wood nailed to the skeleton of an old ship. His whole body strains with the effort of wrenching the plank free, to no avail. Ah! Hey, you recognize this fellow from the ship. I see you made it to shore alive. Well, I'm glad to see you made it away from the wreck. Eh? Oh, that. Won't be my first or last roll on a lost boat. Reckon I might have had a harder time of it without your help, though. Bravery on the high seas is rewarded tenfold in the hall, you know. Now, if you'll excuse me, I got business to attend to. The dwarf spits into each of his calloused palms, rubs them together before placing them back on the plank and pulling. God, bleeding nail! Must be charmed or something. Do you want a hand? Go on then, give it a go. You grab the plank and pull, but strain as you might, the pesky plank doesn't budge. Forget it. Thanks for trying, though. You're a good kid. He winks and flips a coin towards you. It makes a long, high arc, glinting in the sun, lands squarely in your hand. For your trouble. I doubt the old plank was worth a coin. No. But I'd hoped to build something with it that was worth 1,000. It'd be a fool's errand, thinking I could make something out of this heap. But I couldn't help myself from trying. He sucks a finger and holds it up to the wind, testing the breeze. Winds like these, she would have capsized before she reached the break. Well, on to plan B. Plan B. Are you planning an escape? He gives you a wry look, as though deciding whether to trust you. I was planning to build me a raft and paddle off. I've got business north of here, in a town called Driftwood. Far be it from me to miss an appointment. Well, if you're getting out, I'd like to be included. I want in. Ah. Ifan's becoming more Scottish the more I do beast. Ifan ben Mezd. Ifan ben Mezd. I don't know if this is a... I like having a cue line for my voice acting. That's not a unique thing that I do. This is something I've picked up from watching people who are far better than I. And for Ifan, it's his name. Ifan ben Mezd. For beast, it's Queen. My cousin, the Queen. Why don't we make a deal then? You'll help me get out of this place, and I'll do the same for you. You reach out and shake his hand. Well, I'd be glad to have you as an ally. That's the spirit. He lifts an invisible cap and bows with the grace of a courtier. Pleased to make your acquaintance. The name's... well, the name's dead and buried. What matters is what they call me. Beast. Let's go with... yeah, let's go with soldier. I've heard of a dwarf called Beast before, among the rank and file. He's known as the Hawk of the High Seas. Ha! There's a new one. Hawk of the High Seas, eh? I like it. Well, how did you earn a name like Beast? Huh. I'll tell you when you're older. Anyhow, we're a team now, so the me is not as often as important as the us. Let us get down to brass tacks. Fighting, I mean. I've been up and down the realm so often it'd make your cabbage spin, and I've picked up a few tricks along the way. Truth be told, I've grown fond of crushing and casting. A battle mage, if you like. But there's not so important as team dynamics. Let's try that again. But there's not so important as team dynamics. So what'll it be? Now I'm going to make him a battle mage. Just quickly. I mentioned this, I touched on this a little bit in the last episode, but I really wish, and there's probably a mod, I haven't looked, but I really wish there was a fifth option where you jump back to the basically the same as the character creation screen, and you got to tinker. You got to be like, so be like, you know, tell him you wanted a battle mage, just what you're after. Which is what I'm going to do. I want him to be a battle mage, although I probably go two-handed, not dual-wielding. Not important. That's not super important. Or you can go into one of the fighting, the martial ones, or the finesse, or the magic. So you can choose one of the base things. But I want a fifth option being like something like, actually I had something in particular in mind, or I want you to be something special, or whatever. And it's not there. So, though there is a thing later where you get to like redo your character, and I don't know if you can do it with NPC companions. I hope so. I think that'll be fun. Anyway. Where was I? Ifan Ben Mezd. Actually, a battle mage is just what I'm after. Ah, then it's settled. Yes, that settles it. Capital. Well, that's sorted. Onward then. I've got to get out of here. And soon. Oh, sorry. Hiccuped. Well, that's sorted. Onward then. I've got to get out of here, and soon. And I suppose you do too. He gets all his various gear. We can do that later. This guy here is why I didn't pick up Red Prince as my first companion. And he's going to be my last companion, but we will... Oh, I forgot about this guy, though. Okay, he's not... I was worried he was going to give me experience, but he's not an automatic conversation. So we're going to go find Sebel. Now, Sebel moves around a little bit at the beginning, so... She will be... probably up here. Ah, there she is. Amid the squalor of Fort Joy, you suddenly spot an elf with diamond features, regal and radiant, but cold too, and sharper than any knife. She was the one who sat rolling dice in the ship that went under. She was the one who sat rolling dice in the ship that went under, deciding fates with every roll. Or so she said. Her eyes are focused on a lizard some distance away, and you get the distinct feeling he's an unfortunate man indeed to be trapped in her... Oh, gosh, hang on. Oh, it's really hot today, and I turned the air conditioning on, and now I'm sneezing. I'm going to turn it off. Okay. It's probably going to get really hot again, and I'm going to sweat and feel awful. But, where were we? You get the distinct feeling he's an unfortunate man indeed to be trapped in her tiger-like gaze. Oh, we've got to go with the Irfan one. You know better than to approach a woman with that level of intensity in her eyes. You wait. You watch. She freezes under your stare for a moment, then whirls and grabs you in a stranglehold. You feel the tip of a long needle being pushed a little ways into your neck. I forgot what her voice was. I was a slave. I was a slave. You caught me off guard. No one catches me off guard. Better tell me who you are, or this time I'll let my needle do the talking. Ifan. I am Ifan Ben Mezd of the Lone Wolves. And I can see you've had extensive professional training in the ancient empire. You can see quality, but lone wolves, amateurs all, or so I thought. You do tread on soft paws, Ifan. A push, a pivot, and now you suddenly face her, the needle still all too deeply embedded in the side of your throat. Despite the precariousness of your situation, you notice something that remained undetected in the gloom of the ship, a flaw in her diamond features, a curiously shaped scar on her left cheek. Huh. How did you get that scar? Let me tell you a little story. Once upon a bad old time, a lizard cut this living scar into my cheek, the mark of a slave. But now I'm free of sorts, and I've traced that lizard here to Fort Joy. I intend to raise the subject with him. Just so we're clear, I am not that lizard. She drives the needle in deeper and whispers, "In truth, it does not matter in the least who you are. You saw me mark my prey. You could warn him, save him, or kill him before I get my chance. That makes you a liability. That makes you needle feed. Or, instead of killing me, you could join me. A bright sparkle of laughter? Laughter. You from Mattel. A bright sparkle of laughter follows your proposal." How amusing. I admit I had not seen that twist coming. I was certain the pitiful begging was about to begin. Make your case, and do it quickly. Why should I join you? I'm planning my escape, and I've need of people with talents like yours. Escape? Oh, how you tickle me. Most of the misguided deers around here would argue that such a thing is impossible. Nothing's impossible. A silly thing to say, but then again, I did think catching me off guard was impossible. Oh, little needle of mine, what should I do? Push or pull? The agony of choice. You know what? Today is a rather fine day. Sunshine and an easy breeze. Yes, I'll let you live. I'll even agree to travel with you, provided we talk to that lizard I mentioned. I'm not quite sure the weather will save him. With a casual flick of the wrist, she withdraws the needle from your neck and smiles, as if she just invited you to sit down for tea. Let's discuss our respective roles then, shall we? You, me, and Death will be playing many a round of hide and seek, so what role would you like me to play? As a rogue, my specialty is stealth, the quick silence of the dagger striking unseen. That said, I'm perfectly lethal. Damn it. Oh, excuse me. Oh, goodness. Damn it. Alright. Start again. As a rogue, my specialty is stealth. The quick silence of the dagger striking unseen. That said, I'm perfectly lethal wielding any weapon or magic, so the choice is yours. Now, in my first episode, I think I said that I was planning to make Sybil a wizard. I was going to have Battle Mage, Wizard, and Necromancer, and then the Necromancer would go more into Huntsman, and Necromancy then into Scoundrel. But I've been thinking about it, and I actually think I want to make Sybil the Necromancer, because I think the fact that she gets abilities from eating stuff early on will be helpful with the Necromancer rather than the Wizard. It's potentially not as optimized, I guess, but we're playing a single player game. It's not, optimization isn't as necessary. Now, I don't know if assume which is in here. I think I think I need someone with an affinity for the arcane arts. What do you know of magic? But of course, I can play the strings of magic like a harpist her instrument. Is there any specific tune that takes your preference? I'm looking for a witch. Someone who can drain the life from enemies, cast necromantic skills, and can get up close and personal with a dagger. Or use a bow, as the case may be. Suits me just fine. Lead on, or better yet, let me take the lead. That settles it. Then follow me. You're not quite certain you'll ever sleep soundly with Sybil in any sort of proximity, but at least she's on your side. For the moment. Do I have a bow? I do. It's my first bow. Yes. Okay. You don't have any? No. That means that she's got persuasion. I'm thinking Beast will be the persuasive person because he's also got it. I don't know if she'll be Lawmaster or if Red Prince will be Lawmaster. I don't know. Work it out. Okay, now, speaking of the Red Prince, let's go fetch. Let's go fetch him. Sorry, I forgot I was wearing a helmet. I thought I was wearing a bucket helmet. Oh, God. It looks so dumb. Alright. God, I'm really just freaking that lady out, aren't I? Sorry! Sorry! Oh, okay, bye. So, I'm really glad that worked, actually. I was worried that I was going to trigger something and get some experience somehow, but this way I've got the full party. The ones I haven't talked to, once we level up, they'll level up in their own way, but I'm not as worried because I'm pretty sure this is going to be the people I stick with. But anyway. You spot a strange lizard gazing over the water with a... blah, 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 blah. Also, I find it odd just referring to them as lizard, not just like lizard folk or something. Or because when I see it's got a strange lizard, it feels like it's like, look, it's like a small thing sitting on the rock, and it's like, oh, it's next to that giant lizard as well. It's fine though. You spot a strange lizard gazing over the water with a steady, malcontent stare. His skin is of a bright blood red color. Could he be... Yes, you recognize him from the ship. It would seem you're not the only one who survived the tentacles of the deep. Even though I've already talked to 2 other people from the ship. He's supposed to be the first one you come across. He did grab me. Let's let bygones be bygones. Hello there. I see that you survived the shipwreck. I'm glad to see another of us made it. The lizard turns about with the graceful ease of a dancer or a duelist. You lock eyes with his 2 smoldering embers that sizzle your very soul. I did survive, yes. And chances are I wouldn't have, had you not returned to the aid of your fellow passengers down in that dreadful hold. You have my gratitude. Hand over heart, he salutes you with a bob of the head, more than a nod, though less than a bow. Well, I'm glad to be of help. Doesn't do to stand idly by when people are in danger. Yes, I'm sure you've all the makings of a hero and all that, but let's not get carried away, shall we? And now then, if there's nothing further... Well, what are you doing here, standing on that rock? I'm sure I don't mean to sound condescending, but I had thought it quite self-evident I was gazing out over the waves. Tell me, what do you see when you cast your glance over this ocean? I guess I see a bunch of bad ways to die. Quite. Which goes for the dry parts around here too. Let's try that again. Quite. Which goes for the dry parts around here too, I imagine. He looks out over the water once more, and so do you. A few tranquil moments pass as the waves lap against your thoughts. Breathe in and out. As for myself, when I consider this vast expanse before us, I see an empire. I see continents dotted with mighty cities, and shimmering along the soft curve of the sea's horizon, I picture the palaces that formed my paradise. Lost. What do you mean, lost? What do you mean, what do I mean? I mean just what I say. I had a very actual empire that I lost. Suddenly having all the air of being deeply offended, he stares at you with utter incredulity. Incredulity. Words are hard. He stares at you with utter credulity. Tell me in the comments how wrong I am. Well, don't just stand there gawking like an ape at an abacus. Well, don't just stand there gawking like an ape at an abacus. Or do you really mean to tell me you don't know who I am? Someone who had an empire to lose. I don't run in that kind of crowd. More's the damn pity, isn't it? For I am the Red Prince, the All-Conqueror, the World Tamer, the spouse of the sun. Of course you know me. There's a brief moment's pause during which his grandiose pose deflates ever so slightly. That said, I suppose I must own up to the fact that I find myself rather in between all-conquering and world-taming opportunities at the moment. The grandeur that is my fate has hit a bit of a snag. But never you worry, for the throne I was destined, and my throne I shall have. Why don't you travel with me? Maybe I can even help you win your throne back. Truly, a kind offer indeed. And you've already proven to be trustworthy enough. You came back for the others on that ship after all. Fine, I accept. On one condition. For reasons I'll not disclose right now, it is imperative that I should meet with a dreamer, one of the mystics of my kind. I've reason to believe one of them may be present on this island. Promise me we'll look for him, and I'll extend you the blessing of my company. All right, I promise. If that, all right, I promise. Jolly good. So now that that's settled, first thing first. even if you are as versed in the art of eloquence as I am, that our swords will be doing a lot of the talking from here on out goes without saying. As a born fighter, I prefer the perfection of the blade myself, but I'm well acquainted with the secrets of magic and, yes, even subterfuge. What say you? I'm looking for someone with the abilities of the arcane, a wizard. Well, wizardry is embedded in my nature as deeply as the instincts to breathe and drink and mate. The dominion over fire suits me best, truth be told, but there is no school of magic I cannot master. Good. I need an elemental powerhouse. A wizard will do. Very well. Onwards then to victory or death. Yes, that settles it. The Red Prince nods and gives you a smile that wavers ever so delicately between courtesy and contempt. Now, as you're aware, you'll be traveling with a prince. Proper forms of address include Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, or if you're feeling particularly frivolous, My Lord. As your luck would have it, I seem to be fresh out of luggage, so you won't be required to carry my belongings. Of course, there are other forms of protocol to bear in mind, but I'll see to it you pick up the rest as we go. So, without further ado, let's be off. Oh, you're going to be fun. If you think I'm going to call you any of that. Look at all that fire. Alright, how long have we been doing this for? Okay, so that's about half an hour. I think I'll go quickly do that conversation on the stairs. Everyone will level up. And I might call it a day for now. Just a episode this time, and I will be looking to do more episodes, still short episodes, but more often throughout the week, hopefully 2 or 3 times a week initially, and then we'll see how we go with that, and then we'll sort of build up from there. Ooh, right. Secret area just there. Quick tip, which is probably, it's one of those, I think I mentioned it last episode, but there are a couple of things that aren't mentioned in the character creation. Things like undead don't need to use lockpicks when they try and unlock something, because they can use the skeleton key that is their finger. And lizards, such as the Red Prince, don't need a shovel to dig. One must put in due effort if one is to reap the proper reward. And there we go. And we get leather armor, money, and a better bow. Which we'll give to Samil. And look at that. We're on our way to being a powerhouse. How much damage are you doing currently? 9 to 11. Alright. Dual wielding's better for now. I think, as I said, I'm going to move him into two-handed. And potentially have him alternate between a two-handed sword and a staff, depending on what's necessary. But we don't need to worry about that too much for now. At the moment, we're just going to trigger this conversation, and then I think, as I said, we'll bring this episode to an end. Stand back, sorcerer, and stay silent. Our God-woken speaks. What voice do I want to do for Bishop Alexander? We know you've been helping sorcerers escape Atuza. We have proof. I'd sooner cut my tongue out than lie to you, Alexander. I know nothing of any escapees. If you can tell the God-woken no more, your tongue is of no use. Cut it out. This can't be serious. Alexander, calm. You should know by now to obey your superior, Magister, whatever she may ask. This isn't the right moment to make yourself known. You keep your head down and your mouth shut. Bishop Alexander idly glances at you in... Oh. Bishop Alexander glances... Hi, how are you doing? I'm struggling with words. Maybe I should read it first, and then say it. Idly glances, not glances idly. Alright. I keep these mistakes in for your enjoyment, and not my laziness. That's what I'm telling myself. Bishop Alexander idly glances in your direction, curiosity on his face. Recognition seems to flicker in his eyes for a moment, but then he shakes his head and looks back towards Dallas. Artusa pinches the tip of her tongue with 2 fingers and brings her dagger to its root. Her eyes squeeze shut, drops of blood form against the dagger's edge and quickly fall to the ground. She groans. Stop. My father, may his soul rest in peace, would be disappointed in you, Artusa. To think you would lie to his only son, your bishop, and your friend these many years. The fate of our realm hangs in the balance. If you will not help us save it, then you will help the void destroy it. Dallas. Yes, Your Holiness. I believe we're done here. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? What time? How long? Maybe I'll do that as well. Yeah, let's do that. We're gonna do this conversation, then we're actually gonna go do that combat that I missed. The lizard magister, or what's left of her, lies in a puddle of gore. These magisters are almost vicious. Ugh. Blah, 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 blah. These magisters are almost vicious enough to join the lone wolves. Savages. That's what these people are. This heap of flesh and bone was just another lizard. The world won't mourn her long. She was a lizard, yet a magister. No matter her reasons, her penalty was fair. Loot the body. We'll feed that to our elf shortly. I'm going to actually go quickly, guys. I said we missed that comment. So we'll actually have a combat before the end where we will just decimate some void woken. And then I think that will bring us to roughly 40 minutes. 40 or so minutes. I'll level up either next episode or between episodes. Which we will do next week. So we're going to wait. Sorry, I thought there was something weird on my recording end. Yeah, these guys. Let's mess them up. Both. Now the trick is make things oily and then bam. Oh, another conversation. Stare at the slain beasts and comment that they... What? It's more of an instruction than a narration. You stare at the slain beasts and comment that they must have been the cause of the shipwreck. I just want to get out of here before any more of these things show up. This is no time to linger. More of these things could still show up. It was good to see some of them bleed after what they did to the ship. Good riddance. And on that, we'll end the episode. Thank you very much for watching. If you've reached the end of the episode, if you have enjoyed it, please like, share, subscribe, all those wonderful YouTube things. If you haven't enjoyed it, I mean, by all means, leave a dislike. I mean, I'm not the boss of you, and it's all good feedback. Speaking of feedback, if you have anything, please put it in the comments. Please tell me the words I mispronounced. It's always good learning. But until next week, I've been SammyP, and this has been Let's Voice the Divinity Original Sin 2.